Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, now don't turn off the video when you hear this, but in this video, we are going to build a custom block for Gutenberg. Now, it's not what you think. It's not what you think. We're not going to build a custom block the way other people build custom blocks. I don't enjoy doing that. I've done it once in my entire life. I don't ever want to do it again. Trust me. I am going to use Etch. Now, let me show you what the actual use case scenario is, because this is pretty cool. Okay, I'm working on this blog post, The Cardinal Sins of Website Design and Development, the Ultimate List. This is for my personal site. It is a monster of a blog post. And I decided, as I'm writing this thing, that I need a table of contents for it. And this table of contents, I'm going to go ahead and edit this post. This table of contents would be added not to the template for all of my posts, because I don't want every post to have a table of contents. I only want certain posts like this one to have a table of contents, which means we need to be able to come in here and insert a table of contents block. Problem is, there's no table of contents block natively in WordPress, and I don't want to hunt through the plugin repo, and I want it to behave a certain way. I want to be free to style it however I want. This is custom block territory, but you are not going to catch me dead building an actual custom block. But what we can do is we can leverage Etch, because Etch, we need to start thinking about all the possibilities that Etch gives us at our fingertips. We think about components for ourselves and component-based development for scalability and maintainability, but what if component-based development combined with Etch's auto block authoring, which when you create a component in Etch, it auto authors it to a synced pattern in Gutenberg? What if that empowers us to build any type of client-based component, things that they are going to specifically use inside of the block editor as they edit their site and add content to their site? This is really, really fantastic. Excuse me, it's got me all choked up. I'm going to walk through this. I'm going to use Grok because I don't even want to bother with the JavaScript for this thing. So I'm going to use Grok, and we're going to take a look at how easy this actually is. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave this post real quick. I'm going to go create a sample page, okay? This is going to be called a sandbox page. And this is just for the purposes of developing this component so I can see what we're doing. And then we're going to see how easy it is to just make this thing work inside of Gutenberg. And it's all going to be automatic, and it's all going to be fantastic and fun. And just bear with me, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and edit this with Etch. And I'm going to go ahead and add a section right here, and we are going to make this an article. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, let's go to Grok, and let's say I need a sample blog post that's 500 words and has at least 3 H2 subheadings. Okay, subheadings. Give me the plain HTML for only the article. All right. I don't need anything else, Grok. I don't need all your other nonsense that you're going to spit back at me. So while that's going on, let me explain exactly how this is going to work. I'm going to go back to that blog post real quick. Okay. So we'll go to posts. Here it is. We'll preview it. Essentially, what needs to happen is this. We need a table of contents that scans an article and grabs the H2 headings and compiles them into a list with anchor links. And what that's also going to need to do is dynamically add IDs to each of these headings so that they can be compatible with the anchor links. It's not super complicated. It's going to hopefully be fairly easy to build, but that's essentially what needs to happen. Okay, Grok, just give me the thing, dude. This Grok 4. I mean, it really overthinks things. Just give me what I asked for. Okay, you can expedite it. You can speed it up. I click that little button. Okay, so it's gonna go ahead and write this article. What's great about Etch is that I can paste this HTML directly into Etch. So I'm gonna take from the H1 down to the final paragraph here, and then we'll hop over, and right inside of our article right here, I can just paste all of that in, and it's gonna go ahead and render. Now, if I put my smart spacing on this, it's gonna space it all out the way that it's supposed to. You can ignore the H2 styling and everything else right now. I'm gonna drop drop this down so we have a lot more real estate. And now we are ready to rock and roll. So before this H1, what I would essentially do is place the table of contents component. And I'm going to just have Grok. I'm not going to build this component. I'm just going to have Grok do all of the work. We're just going to prompt. So I'm going to come down here. I think I zoomed in a little bit too much, but that's okay. We'll work with it. Okay. So here's what the prompt is going to be. Okay, great. I now need to build a table of contents component. Let me zoom out because it's a little too much. Okay, I need to build a table of contents component that scans an article for H2 level headings and compiles a list of them with anchor links. Okay, you'll need to dynamically add IDs to each H2 heading so they can be linked to, all right? I need you to follow all applicable accessibility requirements, and I want the table of contents to behave like an accordion, so it can be collapsed and expanded by the user. The default should be collapsed, okay? Let's think about what else we want. So we're telling it how it needs to work. We're telling it that it needs to be an accordion. We're dynamically adding the IDs to each H2 heading so they can be linked to. Can you help? Okay. And now let's see what it spits back. Oh, let me pause that. Okay. Let me grab this. I've got some other requirements for it that I just remembered. Okay. You need to use BIM naming convention with the classes. Don't use any IDs for the JS other than the anchor links. Okay. And I want you to nest all the CSS inside of the parent selector using vanilla CSS nesting, not Sass. Okay. Not Sass nesting, not Sass nesting. Okay. That should be good. Okay. Let's see if it'll now spit out some code for us for this table of contents. And again, what's fantastic about this is it's going to give us HTML, it's going to give us CSS, and it's going to give us JavaScript. And we're going to be able to copy each of those pieces of this component and simply paste it right into Etch. And then what Etch is going to do is it's going to auto-author all of that into Gutenberg, okay? And we're going to turn that into a component, which is also going to tell Etch to create a synced pattern inside of Gutenberg for this table of contents, which will then give us the functionality of the user can essentially go into the pattern library, and the user in this case, the client in this case, is actually me, because this is my personal website, right? Let's go ahead and quick answer this, Grok. We don't need to overthink. This is not a complicated thing, Grok. You've probably done this a million times, all right? So you can expedite, tell it to quit thinking so much. Okay, it's calling it table of contents. I'm seeing that it's nesting. Looks like, okay. Is that based on our article? Style. Okay, I guess the article is not actually here. Okay. All right. So this should work. What I'm going to do is go to hugeicons.com, and I'm going to grab a down icon. All right. So we'll say down, and I'm going to say we want to, standard stroke, and then I'm going to grab this icon right here. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to say, all right, Grok, use this icon instead. All right, bang, pop that in there, because I don't want this chintzy little triangle. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. See if we can get a little improvement going here. Okay, this is fantastic. If you've never, and you could use any LLM that you want, you don't have to use Grok. But this, it just saves a tremendous amount of time. What is the system today's date? What do we need the today's date for? Okay, now it's got that. That's perfect. That's great. Okay. I want you to remove all Opinionated styling. I only want styling related to functionality. Okay? Yeah, let's go modify that, Grok. Let's go modify that. And I'm not doing any editing on this video. I want you to see this is exactly what the process looks like. Now, in the future, we will absolutely have a pre-built table of contents element for you. Okay, I hope this does what it's supposed to do. Let's go ahead and grab the code. All right, so the first thing that we're going to go get is we're going to get the actual button, so button, and then UL, table of contents. I kind of want those to be self-contained elements. Table of, section class table of contents. Okay, I don't think I want that to be a section. We will change it to a div. I don't know that anything, there's probably nothing related to section. So we should be good. All right, I think we're good here. I think we're good. Just a quick little peek. I think we are good. So what I'm going to do is after this opening article tag, I'm going to paste in this section, but I'm going to do multi-cursor select, and I'm going to just change that into a div. So div class is table of contents, and we can have this thing called a table of contents, which has a button, and then it's got the list in here as well. Okay, and then I am going to make sure that we're on the actual parent element table of contents. This is where I'm going to paste the CSS. This is where I'm going to paste the JavaScript. So I'm going to head over now, and I'm going to grab everything inside of that table of contents class. And I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to paste it. Okay, now we're going to get our CSS in here. Hopefully that works. Yeah, okay. I mean, I don't see any difference yet, but that's okay. We'll go and move on to our JavaScript. So we're going to copy everything inside of the scripts tags, and let's go back. We're very tab heavy now. Let's kill that. That's our preview. Okay, here we are. So inside of our JavaScript, I'm just going to go ahead and paste all of that JavaScript. I'm going to go ahead and save, and then we are going to go check this out on the front end. And look at what we have here. Look at this. We have a working table of contents, all right? And I can even tab activate it. Now, I think it's okay, so I need to tell Grok it's expanded by default. I need it to be collapsed by default. The JS is working, but your CSS might be backwards on the list visibility, okay? I don't know. I'm just guessing if that's the thing, but yeah. So, yeah, it's either the CSS or the initialization logic. Like if it didn't hide the list by default and then show it on click, then that's probably what the problem is. Okay, it's saying that it's in the JavaScript. Okay. So let's just grab the JavaScript and we'll repaste that in. All right. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to repaste that JavaScript in. Let's just go to the front end and see if that worked. If not, we'll look further into, okay, that appears to have worked. That is absolutely perfect. Okay. Now I'm not going to bother you with all of this, with all of the styling that I would put into this, right? We're strictly talking functionality right here. Styling is the easy part, but it is a little bit time consuming, right? To get it to look exactly the way that you want it to look. I'm more concerned with functionality. And look at this. This is taking me to the end. Now, I can't scroll enough for it to actually take me to these anchor links, but it is in fact working, okay? So what we need to do now, and then we're gonna step up the game. This is the easy, this is light work, okay? Light work for Etch. I'm gonna take this table of contents and I'm going to create a component, and we're gonna name this component table of contents. Table of contents, okay? I can't even type today. Save, and then I'm gonna go ahead and exit as soon as that's done saving this up. All right. And that has authored. I'm going to go ahead and just, we can just completely get out of this. Okay. And I'm going to go navigate to the post. Okay. So I'm going to go to posts and I'm going to go to the cardinal sins of website design and development. And like the part about, okay, when do we create, Kevin? When do we create the custom block part of this? It's already done. That's the crazy part. It's already done. We already did it. Simply by building the thing in Etch, it's already done. So I'm going to go to patterns and I'm going to go to my patterns and you're going to see a table of contents sitting right there. Now, the visibility is a little bit, we still got some things to work on in terms of the visibility of this thing. But let's go ahead and save this as a draft. And let's go to the front end and see if we have a working table of contents. So I'm going to preview a new tab. It's generating the preview. Man, WordPress is slow sometimes. I'm going to come down. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Generate, it's a done deal. I made a custom block in Gutenberg that the client can just add from the pattern library called table of contents, which does all the things. And look, it takes you right to where it's supposed to take you. Guys, this is what I'm talking about. This absolutely changes the game. Now, let's take it a step further. We've accomplished our mission. Well, how long was that? How long was that fumbling around with graph? 15 minutes, less than 15 minutes. We've got a working table of contents, okay? Now, we're going to take it a step further. We're going to add a prop into our component, okay? So let's go back into our sandbox here, and let's edit this with Etch, okay? I'm going to go back to our table of contents. We're going to edit this component, and we're going to add a prop. We're going to add a select prop, and we're going to say selectors. We'll say heading. We'll call this heading levels. Heading levels, okay? And it says option 1 per line. You can do label and value. So we'll do H2, and we'll say the value is H2, okay? And then we'll do H2, and H3, and the value is going to be H2, H3. All right. I'm going to copy that. Okay, yep. So we're good. I don't think we would ever need to go to 4. So it's like, do you want to do H2s or do you want to do H2s and H3s? I think those would be the choices in our select, okay? So let's go ahead and hit, well, actually, before we do that, let's go to the table of contents and let's add an attribute, okay? So I'm going to say data heading level equals, and then I'm going to do, we can put this in quotes, okay? And we can do props dot heading levels, okay? Heading levels, just like that. So it's essentially going to add the value right in here on this data heading level, okay? And I'm going to add that. And then what we're going to do is, so H2 would essentially be the default if we look at this. So let me show you what this is doing. So I'm just going to save this real quick. I'm going to go ahead and exit. And then on this table of contents, it's giving me a drop down where I can say, do I want H2 or do I want H2 and H3? And obviously H2 is going to be the default, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and save that. And now what we need to do is we need to tell Grok, we need to say, okay, Grok, I have a new requirement. The user can choose whether they want to scan all H2s or they can scan for H2s and H3s. H3s would need to be added to the list as children of the H2 they belong to, okay? And the way we will determine the heading levels that get scanned is via the data attribute, data heading level, okay? Data heading level, with values being either H2 or H2, H3, like this, okay? Comma separated heading levels, okay? It should be expandable in the future to H2, H3, H4, for example, without having to adjust the JavaScript, okay? Let's just see now what it's going to do, okay? I'll modify the table of contents component to support scanning either H2 or H2 and H3 with H3s nested as children of their respective H2s. Heading levels needed to scan will be determined by data heading level attribute on the section element, okay? Okay, I'm going to stop it and say one modification. I changed the section to a div. So don't look for a section element specifically, okay? It should just, it doesn't need to worry about what the HTML tag is. It really just needs to look for the data heading level. Okay, so it's spitting it back out. Oh, you know what it might be doing? It might be, I'll update the table of contents, use a div instead of a section. Okay. All of the functionality remains unchanged, scanning H2 or H3 based on the date. Okay. It's saying that it's doing it. Okay. It seems to be hung up a little bit. Can you finish? Come on, Brock. By the way, people will be like, why use Grok, not Claude, blah, 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 blah. Look, I used Claude the other day to do something. I was not super impressed. I rarely have problems with Grok. I feel like Grok is actually better at coding than at least like Claude Sonnet or whatever it is. I haven't tried Claude Code yet. But yeah, I feel like Grok is better. Okay, I'm going to grab this script right here. So we've got new JavaScript. Beauty of this is I can just drop it in, right? So I'm going to grab my table of contents. I'm going to replace the JavaScript that is currently there. As soon as that's done saving, I'm going to go to the front end of the website. And we're going to see Cardinal Sends. Okay, I'm on, where am I? Okay, I need to go to this page right here. Okay, so right now it's grabbing the H2s. Now I need to put an H3 in here, right? So I'm going to exit this and I am going to make the rise of sustainable. I'm going to make that an H3. Okay, so we're going to save there. And then we're going to go back to the front end. And we're going to see, okay, it's only got 2 H2s. Now let's change this let's go to table of contents and say H2 and H3. Let's save that. Let's refresh. And now look at this. We have it. Now let's see if the rise of sustainable text is a sublist. It is. Look at this. It's its own list. I just need CSS essentially to indent it, right? So that visually you can tell that it's a child. That's just a little CSS that I need to add because I asked for no opinionated CSS, just CSS for functionality, but it is correctly doing this. Now, let's see if the client has the ability to actually change this, okay? So I've saved all this up. Let me go here to our post and let me refresh, okay? And now let me select the element. Look at this. It's right there in Gutenberg for them to make the exact same selection. So I'm going to say H2 and H3. I don't know if I have any H3. I don't think I have even any H3s. So I wouldn't select it, but I absolutely could. And we will, let me save this as draft and just go to the front end. So because I want you to see, let's go refresh, because Etch exposes any props that you add to a component in Gutenberg for the end user, which is absolutely fantastic. So what I can do to test and see if this is scanning properly for H2s and H3s, I can just show you the data attribute, okay? So let's go in here. Let's bring this up. Let's zoom in a little bit. And look at this, data heading level H2, H3. So the client, guys, we're building custom blocks with props. Like, zero effort.